Welcome back. Taking on critical race theory, Oklahoma and Idaho, the latest states officially banning critical race theory in schools. Meanwhile, Iowa and Texas have similar bills making their way through their state legislatures. My next guest is rolling out new legislation against critical race theory, including ending federal funding for it. Joining me right now is North Carolina Congressman, House Homeland Security Committee member, and House Judiciary Committee member Dan Bishop. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. Give us the impact on this. You know, we hear from lots of parents who are just outraged by what their kids are coming home from school with in terms of this critical race theory. Walk us through how you see the negative impact playing out.
Maria, this idea, this critical race theory is a poison in the psyche of our country. And government at all levels ought to take steps to make sure we're not using government resources to advance it. So I think if I were a state legislator still, I'd be doing that in the state legislature. But in Congress this week, several of us are introducing pieces of legislation. Mine will prohibit the use of federal funds to advance or teach critical race theory anywhere, and it will codify the Trump executive order that banned the use of critical race theory in training federal employees and in use in any federal agency.
Yeah, I mean that's on a federal level. There are some states that are actually making it a priority. Whether you look at New York or even Washington, why is this? What is going on with the rest of the curriculum? Are we teaching history? Are we teaching economics?
No, it's a distortion of history, Maria, and it's fundamentally incompatible with the values that are embodied in the United States Constitution. It makes no sense at all. In the University of North Carolina Journalism School, just a couple of weeks ago, they gave a full professorship to Nicole Hannah Wallace, the person who was the primary author of the 1619 Project for the New York Times, fundamentally opposed to all of the core values of the journalism school at the University of North Carolina. It's a public institution overseen by the General Assembly of North Carolina. It's outrageous. And we see this kind of thing happening all over. The 1619 Project has a school curriculum that's spread throughout the country. And it teaches that the foundation of the country is in slavery and racism, not in the fundamental ideas of freedom that were embodied in the Declaration of Independence. Every elected official should be warring against this kind of ideology. It is poisonous to our people.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, jump in here. You've worked a lot on this. This is making an assumption that our young people are racist before they even say a word about anything.
Well, that's exactly right. It goes completely against the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King because it calls on us to judge everyone based on the color of their skin rather than the content of their character. Anybody watching this at home with a kid in school should be checking their textbooks because this content is worse than what we see on the college campuses, and it hits students at a more impressionable age. And it's not just the government public schools, but also even wealthy, supposedly conservative private schools have been pushing this stuff. So it's incumbent on all parents, take a look at what their kids are learning and fight against it.
Well, it doesn't help with having the leader of the free world, Congressman, come out after the Derek Chauvin trial and tell us that this country is systemically racist and then walk that back a couple of days later.
That's very true, Maria. Biden has bought in totally to this rhetoric, uses it constantly. It is un-American. And you know, so that's the reason we're going to communicate on every front that this is wrong. We'll have a press conference this week. There are a number of pieces of legislation that the House Republicans are moving simultaneously, and it ought to happen everywhere. This is not something that this country should embrace.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for your efforts on that. Let me move on